Hey everybody, welcome to Cult Fiction. We are going to be talking about a couple of movies today that you may have already seen. Damsel, which is on Netflix, and Ricky Stanicky, which is also on
Prime.
Netflix. Oh no, it's on Prime. It's on Prime. That's right.
Prime.
So let's start with Damsel, and I'm going to go straight to Eric to
Okay.
get the lowdown on what you think of this flick.
Yeah, I liked it all right, and it's, because I kind of knew what it was going to be. It was like a young adult dragon movie. I was talking to Jubal earlier, and, I watched Critical Drinker did a video on it where, he basically, you know, just hated on the movie. Like he hated it.
Hmm.
And the funny thing is everything he said about it was correct. Everything he said was correct. But the reason why I was okay with everything he said being correct and still liking it was because I respect that they made the movie and they didn't just grab a fucking nostalgia IP and wrap, like they made this movie. Like, good for them.
Hmm.
Like, they wanted to a girl boss, young adult chick dragon movie. Cool. That's fine. I knew what I was getting into when I sat down. What I don't want is to sit down and watch Lord of the Rings and see that. What I don't want is to sit down and watch Willow and get that.
Hmm.
What I don't want is to sit down and watch The Witcher and get that. That's what I don't want. I don't want you to fucking say, to basically go, I really want to make this movie, and because I don't think anybody will fucking watch this movie, I'm going to take a nostalgia IP, wrap it around this movie, and fucking package it as the nostalgia IP, and then slap everybody in the face with girl boss bullshit, right? So fucking kudos to the people who made Damsel. They said, this is what it is. We're going to get Millie Bobby Brown to do it. We're gonna do all the tropes. We're gonna be a Northern European medieval dragon thing with all the fucking diversity of a 2024 metropolitan city. Cool, do it. I know exactly what it is when I walk in, so I respect it. There were some things like I don't know, why she was seeing visions. They never explained that. I knew that was just thrown in there to fucking push along the story. She's a girl boss, fine. I can forgive it. It's not. I'm not necessarily the
Target
audience for
audience,
it.
right?
I'm not the audience for it. I'm not watching a piece of, like, it's not an Oscar fucking movie that I'm sitting down and watching. I'm watching a young adult fantasy. I know that I'm going to watch their thing. I can respect it. What I don't respect is when you take my thing and you fucking turn it into your thing.
Hmm.
I hope that makes sense. Does
No,
that make sense to
it
anybody?
it
Oh,
it
that's
makes
fine.
sense. It makes sense. Yeah, I mean, and I'm with you on that, and maybe that's why I'm with you also on, like, I liked it,
Mm-hmm.
because wasn't I didn't feel like it was trying to take anything away from like an existing IP or anything. It's like you wanted to make this as you say, girl boss. I like Brown. I think she does a good job in the stuff that she works on. I've liked her since the first season of Stranger Things. And I don't, the whole concept of the girl boss, like, I don't have a problem with that. Ellen Ripley is one of my favorite heroes of all time.
Mhm.
Right.
So that's cool. And they made her credible in the sense that she was smart and she was brave, but she was human, right? She was still screaming and running from a dragon, which is what, like, if she had just stood
Right.
her ground with her hands on her hips and said, "No, you're not, I'm not
On
afraid of
the
you,
grass.
dragon," and the dragon is
Right.
like, "Oh no," it's like that would have been pretty dumb. But no, she does exactly what you would expect a hero to do, right? You evade danger and you figure a way out of the problem, and that's exactly what she did. So I didn't really have a problem with that. Um, I think that I'm the only thing that I was really disappointed about in the movie was that Robin Wright who I think is a great actress, uh, um, was really not utilized. She basically had like one facial expression for the whole movie. She was the evil queen, and that was it. There was no depth to her character, and it was, they didn't really they didn't put her to good use, I thought. But then
Yeah.
again, that's the writing. That's not necessarily the directing or anything. Whatever. She still did a good job for her part, as much as she could. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. And I'm sure I didn't see the critical drinker breakdown on all the reasons why it was a girl boss or whatever. I'm sure. I mean, that's what he tends to do. And like you say, I'm sure he was right, but whatever. Like so this wasn't for him, right? This was for young adults, young women who want to see. I did think it was a little bit unnecessarily in your face, like when it very first started. Just the choice of calling it Damsel, and then very beginning you're like, you've got all kinds of stories about damsels in distress. This isn't one of them. Okay, well, you don't have to say that. Just do that. Just you don't have to have a big trope at the beginning of the movie. Just tell that story, right? Let's see it. Anyway, so for what it was, I totally liked it. I thought it was an interesting flick. Let's go to Mr. Gus with the fantastic shirt and see what he has to say about this movie.
All right. I really don't like it. Like, and the thing is like, I really went in with an open mind, and I went in with really low expectations, and it met them. Like, it did. Right. And I didn't expect some Oscar shit. Right. But like, damn. And it's like, oh, Millie Brown is really popular. Oh, let's put her here. Oh, girl power. That's a selling point. Oh, let's put that in there. Oh, dragons, Game of Thrones. Oh, let's put that. Oh, yeah. This movie sucked. So I'm not even going to talk about how shitty it was, because I brought my hat just in case. I'm going to put it on. Put on my roving hat. So here's the bottom line. I want a strong moratorium. I want Hollywood or whatever would to sign a contract. I want no more English accents unless it actually takes place in the UK. I want no dragons. None. And like Enter the Dragon. Dragons can only be reserved for kung fu flicks. And I want no recycled fairy tales. No more. New shit. It's 2024. We're talking about fairy tales from like 500 years ago and shit. Like, no one had even crossed the ocean yet and shit. And we're still seeing these bullshit fairy tales. And no more women weaponizing dragons. Bullshit. Chef, over. No.
All right. Well, we know where Gus stands. Bueller, what is your opinion of this movie?
I don't think I have as strong of an opinion as Gus does. However, I mean, big spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet. At the end of the movie, Millie Bobby Brown does become the first ever Targaryen Queen of Dragons.
It's true.
So, yeah, there's that. I mean, we tried to get our teenage daughter to watch it. We thought she'd be totally into it. We were excited to watch it with a 15-year-old girl. And then when it came down to it, she wanted nothing to do with the movie. So we watched it together, me and my girlfriend. And she said her book groups are raving about it, saying it was really good. I'm kind of with Eric, like in Jubal. Like, it was fine for what it was. It was on. I watched it. I wasn't invested in it. If I was more invested in it, there would have been some things that I hated about it, but I just kind of took it at face value and rolled with it. I did think like there were some inconsistencies with the story, like you bring up seeing the visions and stuff, and it's like, what? But no explanation. Okay, fine. I half expected them to give her like a superpower unrealized at the very end of the movie because of how they were just kind of throwing stuff together.
Right.
If I want to shit on it a little bit, then I would shit on her being able to climb down the crystal wall that would murder her but she got down to no problem. And of course, the impossible jump that she made, that she had to use a dagger to climb back up. She was able to make that jump in reverse in record time to go find her dad. Okay, whatever. Like, she damn near died making it the first time, going down to it, but somehow she was able to go up. I don't understand how that works, but hey, fine. Her stepmother, riding the horse with a giant stab wound in her abdomen, and then Millie Bobby Brown just takes the horse and is like, "Fuck off, stepmom, I'm leaving." That actually made me laugh, dude. That actually made me laugh when I was watching. I was like, she just fucking left her stepmom like bleeding out from a fucking abdomen wound from a sword, and took the horse and was like, "Bye, bitch." But stepmom was fine at the end of the movie and became mother instead of stepmother. Oh, what a sweet bonding moment. But aside from that, like, I mean, the CGI was cool. The voice of the dragon was dope. I can't remember her name, but she was in 24 and a bunch of other things. It was cool. Like, instantly recognized her voice the second she started talking.
Yeah.
And there were some other things that I thought was cool, like the way that Millie Bobby Brown defeated the dragon. I thought was neat. Of course, it was kind of dumb that the dragon is basically vulnerable to its own spit, but whatever. The dragon never accidentally spits on itself ever during its entire life. Then it just dies. But yeah, man, like, I watched it. It was cool, and it was over, and I don't think that I'll ever watch it again, but I'm not going to be like, oh, the movie fucking sucks. It's just not something I will ever be like, oh, Damsel's on Netflix, I can't wait to watch that again. That's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah, I feel you. I of course there were story points that were questionable. I'm vulnerable to my own farts, so I mean,
They haven't killed you yet, though. They have not killed you yet.
Close though. Sometimes it's touch and go. Let's get Alex in here. What do you say, sir?
Yeah, I was talking to Joe and Eric about it earlier because they saw it before the rest of us, and they were like, yeah, that's not bad. But I was asking, I was wondering why the critics seem to hate it and the audience seems to have like a very different view, because they have like a very polar opposite ratings as far as critics and audience. So I'm always kind of curious as to why that is. And so when I was watching it, I was really trying to figure out, why the critics don't like it, but the audience do. And I think I have the answer, because it's not good. And it's like, like, I get it, like, and I agree, it's not made for me, and I understand that, I'm not the target audience, and that's fine. But still, it's just like, it's so completely generic with everything too, and it's devoid of any kind of personality or its own sort of aesthetic. It's just so
derivative.
bland.
It's a derivative.
It's like, do they even say what the name of the world was or anything? I can't remember anything about it. It was just,
I don't know if they do.
yeah. And like I said, I get that it's not for me. And I can forgive a lot of things when it comes to that. I don't care about the girl boss stuff and everything, because, that's the point of the movie. But it suffered from a problem that a lot of other movies have. And we'll talk about that with Ricky Stanicky too. But third acts, especially with like sort of template movies that like just kind of follow the same kind of path that every other movie does. It's like third acts tend to be the worst act of a movie. And, this one, was no different. And it's just sort of like, it gets to this point where now they have to sew everything up and like fix all the problems to get everybody to the point where they need to be. But it's just sort of like, they had the whole point where the dragon comes and just starts murdering everybody in the castle. And I get like killing the family, and everything, but it's just like, it's just murdering the whole town, basically. Setting
the baker. Like, did he need to die?
Yeah, it's just like,
they killed the servants to bounce, bro. They didn't bounce. That was on them.
He did. He said, "Hey, bounce," and a lot of those guys were like, "I'm out." It was the aristocrats that they were like, "Well, we're not gonna." Yeah.
And I get that it's a dragon, so you have to kind of forgive a little bit, but I can't buy that these people just go into a dragon's cave with like swords, and they're just going to be like, we're going to get it. Yeah, I got you. Well, I want you now.
Form a line.
I get it. I get it.
Thank you for
As an avid player of Dungeons and
It
Dragons.
was the opening scene. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? You're going there with 7 dudes?
Right.
7 dudes.
My son said that. My son was like, you went like
I
guys
said, as an avid player of Dungeons and Dragons, I know how unrealistic it is that somebody in like a plate mail and a sword can stand up to a dragon. I understand. But in a medium like, movies or television, you need something. Like you gotta have, I don't care, give him a special weapon that's like kryptonite for the dragons or something, Just you gotta give me something. Because nobody is just gonna be like, I'm hiring 4 of my best men to go rescue my daughter like 24 hours after she was thrown down a pit into a dragon's lair. And I'm just really, and I get it. Again, I get it. It's not a movie for me. But I still, like, you got to give me something. There's a lot of young adult movies and a lot of movies, aimed at teens and kids that are still, palatable to adults. And they still, like, make a bit of sense. And they still have a little bit of style. And this had none of those things. And it was just so completely vanilla in every single way.
See, this is the issue with Hollywood, and this is the point I was making was, this is what Hollywood has given us over the last, 5-10 years. And it's like they know this is what they're giving us, and they know no one will show up. And so they like literally with Willow, the showrunner for Willow said, I want to make a lesbian, I want to make an epic based around a lesbian relationship. That was the whole reason for his show. And what happened was he was like, I don't know if anybody's going to see that. So he went to Disney and was like, can I use a nostalgia IP like Willow and wrap that around my nostalgia, or wrap that around my idea, right? So he has this vanilla show and he's just wrapping a nostalgia IP around it. What I give Damsel credit for is standing on its own 2 feet and just going, this is my idea. This is my show. Now, it might not work for all the reasons that we say it doesn't work, right? But at least they didn't take from something else and fucking bastardize it and shit on somebody IP and try to sell you something that it never was. They said, no, this is my idea. It's going to stand on its own 2 feet, and you can feel free not to like it, right? But what I think is fucked up is when you take this idea and then you go, oh, this is Lord of the Rings. And then Lord of the Rings fans go, this isn't fucking Lord of the Rings. And they're like, oh, really? Bigot? You fucking bigot?
Right.
You don't like it, big? It's like, no, it's just not Lord of the Rings. Like, that's not what this is, right? Notice when people don't like Damsel, no one's calling anybody like a bigot for not liking Damsel.
Give it time.
It's just, yeah, give it time.
That's probably true.
But,
give it time.
But
yeah,
give it time. Maybe you're right. But it's like they had the stones. I give it respect for having the stones to stand on their own 2 feet and fucking say, this is what we created. We have confidence in it. And you're going to either like it or you're not going to like it.
So I agree. I agree with everything that Eric has just said. Alex and Gus with his chef hat diatribe, you guys almost convinced me to give it a thumbs down, but I'm going to stick with a thumbs up, even though I recognize that it's not for me. So
I will say this though. They had the perfect casting for the dragon voice. If you're gonna have a female dragon voice, you hire a female James Earl Jones.
Yeah, right. What is her name? It's like
Shora.
It's Shora. Yeah, her first name is Shora.
She's always great in everything. She's great in like every role that I've ever seen her in. I've never noticed her voice being used in like in a voice acting in a cartoon or a movie or anything with pure voice acting, and I'm like wondering why hasn't her voice been used like over and over again?
She's been in business for a long time.
She's got a great voice. Okay, so I'm gonna stick with a thumbs up. Joe, you're gonna give it a thumbs up even though it wasn't really your thing. I think Eric is doing the same thing. So overall, I guess it's a marginal thumbs up for what it is. right?
Yeah, if a thumb is, you know, a 6, yeah, you know,
5.5,
you know,
6, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
barely passing grade. That's
If
funny.
this was Penthouse magazine, it'd be half erect.
Very well. Okay, let's go on to let's do Ricky Stanicky. This is a comedy with John
Full erect.
Cena. Farrelly Brothers directed it. So I'll start because I probably have the most like middle of the road opinion of it. I thought what kind of, you were calling it a blue comedy, Bueller? It
Yeah.
was like I would call it like a gag comedy. You know, it's one of those comedies where it's like, you know, there's funny situations in it, and you kind of build your movie around these funny situations that you think people would like. John Cena actually is the best part of the movie. He's a much better actor than people give him credit for. And there were some funny parts to it. It was formulaic in the sense that you knew what was going to happen, and you kind of knew how everything was going to develop. The biggest problem that I have with stories of any kind, whether it's a movie or it's a book or a game even, is if the main character is a piece of shit, it's really hard for me to get into it. You know what I mean? Like if you open your movie with a guy cheating on his wife, I don't really care what happens to that guy, you know, or a wife cheating on her husband. Like I really don't care what happens to her. Somebody's like shooting up heroin in a bathroom stall. Like, you know, you lost me. I don't really care about this person. And so the movie opens with these three guys totally lying to their wives over years, right? And it's like, I'm supposed to be on their side, but I didn't, you know, it's hard to come back from that. But there was some funny parts to it. I'll give it that. I just didn't think that it was really anything special, so I'll give it like a C plus. You know, that's my take on it. Gus, do you need to bust your chef hat out for Ricky Stanicky?
No. Chef hat got retired. So it's an only once an episode. Can't even bring it out that often because there's like extra magic and shit in it.
So what's your take?
You know what? Okay. When I saw the trailer, like I was like, I thought to myself, I'm not gonna like this flick. Okay. When I saw the trailer, I think Joe posted it. I was like, I'm not gonna like this flick. I really liked it. I laughed my ass off. I thought it was super, super funny. Like lots of formulaic shit, but I didn't have in mind. Like I laughed. The shit was funny. The only thing that I had the problem with, okay, and two, like what you touched on, dude, I didn't know John Cena was a good actor.
Right.
Like honestly, because I don't know who anybody is a good actor is, because I've watched like 10 movies since 1997. But like, dude's a good actor. Like he's a really good actor. Damn, son. Like for real. Like I don't think they could do the movie without him, because I thought he was that good. And I thought there was like solid development too in the flick, where like he starts out, he's like, you know, a hot mess. This is a good flick. I liked it. My biggest problem was all of those chicks and that one dude's boyfriend should have left them.
Right.
Like find all the I don't mind the fucking like pirate Instagram. I don't mind dosing the rabbi. I don't mind any of that shit. Fine. All those motherfuckers should have gotten left, and everything should have been taken. Everything. Like take the gold out of your teeth, fucko. Gone. I give it 2 thumbs up though. Like I'd recommend it, and that I don't know. You can't have a Gus ending on that movie. Yeah, you can't. Out there like I've lost everything. Now I'm washing windows at the taco trucks. Whatever.
Right. Like every formulaic comedy, it has to have the Scooby-Doo ending where everybody learns their lesson. Right. You know, and things are back the way they were. You know, better than they were before it started. Eric, what is your take?
Yeah, I thought it was funny. I thought, Cena is a very good comedic actor. Like, I don't know how good an actor. Like, I feel like at this point, between Glass Onion and that M. Night Shyamalan movie, Batista has kind of shown that he's turned into a good actor. You know,
Knock at the cabin.
Knock at the cabin. Yeah, that's
Knock
right.
at the cabin. Yeah, that's right.
I feel like Batista, you could say, is a good actor. I don't know if Cena's a good actor. I think he's a good comedic actor. I think that's fair to say.
Mm-hmm.
He's done some movies where he's funny. He's good at it. So I thought I think it's Andrew Santino, the redhead guy. He's funny. He's funny in that kind of manic, like, what the fuck is blah blah blah, you know.
Right, right.
Efron played the good kind of straight man. The other friend, you know, he was good, you know, for what he did, kind of a stoner friend that has to get his life together. That was good. I don't know. It was, yeah, like you said, it was a formulaic comedy. It had some good gags. The whole fucking the air jerk, you know.
Air
thing.
dicks. Yeah, that was.
William H. Macy was
William H.
killing
Macy
it.
did a good job. He did.
William H. killing it with that shit. I mean, it had a few laugh out loud moments, which is more than I can say for a lot of kind of R-rated comedy. And that's another thing. It was an R-rated comedy where it didn't result in having to show me a penis, like to get, which is something that, like, the last 10 years, like, every R-rated comedy is like, here's a dick because we're edgy. It's like, okay, like, is that what we're doing? Like, here's a penis. Ugh, we're edgy. Yes. Can you just tell a joke? How about that? Could you just make it fun?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. You know.
Yep.
So kudos to them for being able to make me laugh and not throwing a penis in my face for an R-rated comedy. So, yeah, I thought it was funny. It was formulaic. You knew it was going to end with the fucking kumbaya. They were going to get forgiven, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Good performances by William Macy, Santino, Cena. I mean, I don't know what else I really want out of a comedy. It's you know, is it Game Night? Is it fucking the original Hangover? No. Is it better than, like, most comedies nowadays? Unfortunately.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so that's
Agreed.
all I can ask for. You know?
Agreed. Yeah, I agree with that. Alex, what was your take on it?
I mean, my thoughts are pretty much aligned so far with most everybody. Like, if I had to give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, I'd give it like a thumbs down, simply because for the first, 20 minutes or so, I didn't get any laughs at all until John Cena started acting like Ricky Stanicky. I don't think I found any of the gags funny, except there was one when the flashback to when they were kids, and spoiler alert, the house burns down. That was pretty funny. But up until he started acting like Ricky Stanicky, I don't think I laughed or smiled a single time at any of the jokes. And then once the ball got rolling and he starts acting that way, and they're all playing off each other, there were some good gags in there, like you said, the air dicking and everything. And there was a couple laugh out loud moments, But ultimately, and it's like, we've already talked about how formulaic it is, and I mentioned with the Damsel, it's like the third acts are really difficult. But what's so bad about the third act of a movie like this is you have a comedy, and so now everybody's got to learn their lesson. Their lies have to be exposed. They have to be sorry, and they have to do all these things now to catch up with where the movie wants them to be at the end, which is basically they lose nothing.
Right.
And they're forgiven. They don't lose their job. They don't lose their relationships. I don't have any problem with that, in the fact that that's not realistic. My problem is that's not funny. There's nothing funny about this last 20, 30 minutes of the movie happening, because, everybody's got to be sorry. They have to apologize. The relationships have to be fixed. And in the background, there's always that something, like in this case with Stanicky and the company, and they fix everything.
I would say, to be fair, that one dude did have to fucking stay in the backyard for 6 months. Right. They did do that one game where she's like, "You're staying in the backyard for 6 months,"
okay,
and then
you got me there.
No, I'm just saying. And then they showed him actually out in the backyard, like for 6 months.
Yeah, right. That got a smile out of me. But so it's like with these kind of, formulaic comedy where they have that template, the last 20, 30 minutes is always garbage. I don't care what the movie is, because you're dealing now with doing something in a comedy that is not funny, and you don't really get humor out of it. And so between that, where you have like a third act and a first act where I don't really laugh, and then you have like the middle where I get like there's some good gags in there, but it's not enough for me to recommend the movie as a comedy. And but what are you gonna do? I like John Cena though. Like this is the first I think movie I've seen with John Cena in it, and he's very charismatic and he's very likable. So he could, yeah, I would watch another comedy with him in it because I think he has sort of a natural affinity for comic timing. And there was a couple of funny moments with him where he's like kind of silent too, which is kind of hard, like where he's sticking his head out the taxi cab door when like they're driving away. And he's like, you just see his hand,
Like for them, like
right,
invite him to.
that was funny, And so he's a funny dude, and he's charismatic and likable. He's kind of like, a lesser version of The Rock, but still likable.
Right.
So I'll watch a movie with him again, but I wouldn't recommend this movie.
Fair enough. Bueller.
So I was going to say, The Rock walks so John Cena could run, and I say that because John Cena does not take himself seriously at all, and I love that.
Right.
I absolutely love it. I mean, between this and Peacemaker and anything else that you've seen John Cena pop up in, I think it's fantastic. And especially like knowing if you know anything about John Cena, he holds the world record for most wishes granted for Make-A-Wish. Like he seems like a legit guy, and for him to be that much of a stand-up dude and also not take himself seriously, like not even an iota. Like imagine asking.
So, Joe, none of these motherfuckers have seen Peacemaker.
I saw it. Saw it with you.
Oh, it.
Yeah, I think we watched
the
first episode. Yeah,
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, they haven't.
You guys are missing out, dude. It's so good.
So
I'll see the rest of it.
They're all stupid. Yeah.
Then do it. You're totally
So
missing
good.
out.
Yeah.
But for him to not take himself seriously at all, like that made me enjoy this movie a lot. I thought it was a good idea for a movie too, honestly. If you really just break it down to the idea for the movie, great idea for a movie. But to go back to Jubal's point, I didn't feel like I was supposed to like any of these guys in the beginning at all. Like there was never a point where I was like, oh, I have to like Zach and Andrew and the other dude. Like they're all pieces of shit. So to further that, like this would have been great with like the breakup ending. Like with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston would have been fantastic with that kind of ending. Like all the guys get kicked out. Well, yeah, you got what you deserved.
Right. They all get the boot and Stanicky wins. I mean, the movie's called Ricky Stanicky, right? So
it would have even been better if they all like lost everything and Ricky Stanicky was like the president of the company or some shit. Like it would have been awesome. But I mean, you can't have that. Fine, whatever. But
it could have been funnier that way. I don't know. I'm with Alex. I'm with Alex. They needed a different third act.
Yeah, they definitely needed a different third act. The blue humor, the situational humor, that kind of stuff was good. But it's like you guys have been saying the last couple of podcasts, was like somebody had a bunch of really good ideas and just kind of pieced together a movie out of it.
Right.
Like, wouldn't this be funny? Wouldn't this be funny? And it is funny. And the story, again, a great idea to just have this made up person. But I think altogether, it just it missed the mark quite a bit. Yeah, I laughed. I absolutely laughed because I like that kind of humor. But without Cena's timing, without Santino's timing, it would have completely died. Without Macy in it, like it's
right.
They kind of carried a lot of it because of what it lacked plot wise and story wise. It was their performances that really brought it through. So again, I know I say this a lot. Would I watch it again? Probably not. But to say that is like if Superbad was on right now, I would watch that for the 100th time without question. I think Superbad's absolutely hilarious. For as far as blue humor goes, like that's great. But this one is like, I'm glad I saw it. I like the memes that are coming out. The memes that are coming out are great. Hope they continue with John Cena and yeah, but that's it.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's a thumbs up, 3-2 again for that one.
Yeah. It's a thumbs up because I probably will watch it like with Brody.
Right.
Like, I think it, I'll watch it with Brody one more time.
Right.
That's about it.
All right. Well, that's it. So we don't even know what we're going to be talking about next week, but we'll figure it out then. That's the end of our show. Thanks for joining us. Take care. Tune in next week. See you later.